Welcome to our Telescopic Asterisms program. I'm Charles Ennis, and my center is going to be doing this on a monthly basis just to give you all kinds of interesting things you can find in the sky. For millennia, our ancestors have been looking at the skies, identifying patterns of stars, and naming them. They do this as a navigational tool. They've used these as a calendar. They've used it to honor ancestors and honored people and their divinity. Asterisms comes from an old Greek word. It means marking the stars. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're taking a part of the sky and marking it and giving it a name. And this was a really common ongoing practice for centuries. There were no standard charts. Like here, you see this one from the 1700s, but there was a problem with that. And the problem is, once you get really serious and start using telescopes and trying to share observations, if everyone's using a different chart, that's really hard to do. So the International Astronomical Union in 1922 said, that's it, no more, we can't do this. We're going to come up with a standard sky. And that's when you got constellations. They're official asterisms, basically. But people didn't stop naming things, because people have been doing this since the beginning of recorded time. Now we're looking deeper into the sky, and some of us, when we look at these things in the sky, we see stuff that we decide looks like something interesting or recognizable, and we'll name it. So I was introduced to this by Dan Sklezeski, who you see in the picture here, and that's the coat hanger that you see off to the side, which is one of the asterisms he first showed me. And I've been really keen on this ever since. So let's talk about December 2023 and what's up there in the sky right now. We're not going to show them all to you, but I'm going to give you some that you can easily find, some with binoculars and some with a telescope. So here's the sky looking southwest to west, about midnight here in Sea Shelf, and you see Orion, you see Taurus front and center, and you see the three stars, which are the belt of Orion. And if you draw a line over to Taurus and then keep on going, you see a star cluster in the sky, which is easily identifiable with the unaided eye. This is the Pleiades cluster, and it's got thousands of names. It's the top of the hit parade for asterisms all over the world. We'll do another story on that some other time, but basically I'm choosing this because it's an easy object to find in the sky. So put your binoculars on it, put your telescope on it. It's going to look like this. And it's got principal stars that are named for Greek muses. That's who the Pleiades were. An American astronomer, Steve Saber, was looking at this and he went, you know what? I see a cascade there. This is the star Alcyone. That's the name of one of the muses. And here's the cascade. And he calls it Allie's braid. I think it's really cool. Quite an easy one to find, quite an easy one to see with just a small telescope. But there's another one here. First of all, there's Allie's braid, a picture of it. You see Alcyone right at the top and the braid going down in a curve there. But the other one is the candy cane, and that's right off to one side, right next to it. This one's on my list of asterisms, number 36. You can see it there. Okay, so let's go back to Orion. Let's work around this. Let's go up to this triangular area here, which is the upper arm of Orion as he's raising a club into the sky. And in there, you're going to see one of the ones that Danny showed me. This is sometimes called 37. Sometimes it's called LE because people have got the telescope that reverses it and it looks the other way around. This is NGC 2169. It's an open cluster. It's also called the shopping cart. Can you see that? I think that's another good name for it. Let's try another. Move down to the apex of that triangle, a little further down, just off to one side. Right there is the ram's head. This is a German asterism by Christopher Hay and Renee Merding. Hay Merding 3 on their list. And I'm showing Merding's picture of it here with his drawing so you get a better idea of exactly how that appeared to him. Okay. Moving along a little bit further down along the side there, you're going to find Messier 78, which is this cloud right here. And our Bulgarian friends, astronomers, see this as African buffalo horns, like that. I think that's a good one. Moving right along, here at the top of Orion, you see that star, which is the head, I suppose. If we zoom in, you'll see that that star there is Lambda Orionis. That is the mirror. And these three stars are the handle of the mirror. And it's called Aunt Margaret's Mirror. Haven't yet discovered who it was that originally named this, but I know that Sir Walter Scott had a story called My Aunt Margaret's Mirror, which came out in 1828. So it probably goes back at least that far. So let's move along to Gamma Orionis Bellatrix, which is here, the shoulder of Orion. And right next to that, you have one from a Russian list, DODZ-17, and it's called the Metronome. And I think that's a wonderful little asterism there. Quite easy to find, all in the same field as Bellatrix. Let's go the other side of the Milky Way from Orion. There's Gemini, and right there next to one of the hands of Pollux, the left-hand twin, is another one of these asterisms, and it's called the Lasso Loop. This is Frank Leiter, American astronomer, is number 11 on his list. And that star that's really bright in this picture he's got here is Kappa Geminorum, which is that N star in the arm. So all you have to do is go to that star, and there's the loop attached to it. Let's go down below Orion. Let's go to Lepus, the hare, and you'll see this line of stars here right before you get to that first star in that line of three stars. You're going to find O'Neill 4, which is this sort of a fan-shaped asterism. Let's go right up and look at the North Star, because that one is an easy one to find. Everybody knows you can use the Big Dipper as a pointer to point at Polaris. So once you found Polaris, zoom in on it, because you'll notice there's a ring of stars around it. It's also known as the engagement ring, or the diamond ring. American astronomer Phil Harrington made it number 1 on his list of asterisms, but people have been looking at this one for quite some time. Let's look at another one up in that part of the sky. Here's the Big Dipper. And right here, sort of forming a triangle with Alioth and Mizar and Alcar, which is where the handle bends there, is a good one. This one is a French astronomer, Laurent Ferraro. This is number 6 on his list, and this is his take on the Eiffel Tower. Another constellation that's really high in the sky is Cepheus, which kind of looks like a leaning garden shed to me. And over here, right along this line that goes between Iota and Zeta Cephei there, you've got, if we zoom in, a ball and chain right there. This is Jeffrey Corder, who is a really active American astronomer. He's got lots of asterisms. This is number 4,710 on his list. Get out your binoculars, get out your telescope, have a look at that. Now, if we back off a bit, there's Cepheus again, and we go a little further out to here. And this is, we'll zoom in a little bit more, basically sort of a third of the way between Zeta Cephei and Cap and Cassiopeia there is another one of these really good asterisms. This is called the Diving Tower. This is our German friends, Christopher Hay and Ray Merting again, number 6 on their list. And you can see there's a little cluster of stars there that's the splash in the water from somebody that's gone off the tower. So there's 13,270 asterisms in our world asterisms list for the RASC, and 2,648 of those are telescopic, and gradually we're going to work through this and introduce them all to you. So if you want more information, check the end screen down below, because I've put the links down there. We'll see you next month with more telescopic asterisms.